and I believe we're live on the YouTubes, and we are now rolling.
Welcome,
Whoa.
podcast fans around the world.
Holy shit!
It's time for episode 58. 58? Did I fuck it up? 58?
Yeah.
58 of the Degenerates Clubhouse. I'm doing my ring announcer voice because yesterday, 3 Denver-based fighters, one who lives very close to this very apartment in which we were recording, fought and won in triumphant and dramatic fashion. Armando, in one word, how would you describe Justin Gaethje's fight with Michael Chandler? One word.
Violent.
In 2 words, how would you describe the dynamic between Rose Namajunas' haircut and Weili Zhang's haircut?
Sexy dykes.
Oh, that was a good one. In 3 words, how would you describe Kamaru Usman's questionable fashion choices?
Face punch time.
I really give the man credit for wearing a leopard print suit. But like it was like velour. It really screamed like old Jewish Brooklyn woman. And he just, you know what? He rocked that unapologetically.
He can get away with it just like this is not a racist statement at all.
It's always amazing when you have to preface something with this is not a racist statement.
But you know how like black people can get away with wearing like all purple head to toe, or like they can wear like it's not like it's matching, but it's like all like they'll wear a top hat, a coat, and it's all neon pink, and like you look good. You and I could not pull that off.
Do you know who else wore all purple head to toe velour? Was my 96-year-old aunt, Eileen. And she had one of those like little rascal scooters. And then somehow she became friendly with one of the Nuggets players. Like they would text each other. And so she got courtside seats. So she rolled up purple velour head to toe. She had like a big purple hat, like the kind of like poofy purple that looks like a really 70s rug. And she just rolled up on a rascal scooter to the Nuggets game. And then you know what? I think Usman would have been proud. He would have been like, damn, she's got style. Where'd you get those threads from?
I think when I was like 4, 5, and 6, I could probably pull off wearing like, all one color head to toe. As adults, I don't think we could pull it off. But Kamaru wearing that leopard print, that's pretty,
But you know what? Who else I could see wearing like really tight leopard print?
This chick in Florida?
A promiscuous Florida woman.
I like how the transitions are kind of not planned, but we know where I know where you're going. I see the clock work grinding. Okay.
You know what makes the transitions really good if you stop and you talk about it for a while. That's just journalism 101. They teach you that in comms class. Like
explaining jokes. Okay, Florida man. This time it's actually Florida mom. Florida mom says she was banned as school volunteer over participation on adult websites. Victoria Treese, 30, threatens $1 million lawsuit against Orange County School Board. Is this Orange County? Oh, it's Florida. Why am I thinking Orange County like L.A.? Like, duh, it's Florida story. Anyway, Orange County Public Schools classroom volunteers threatening to sue the district over claims that she was banned from campus due to her participation on legal adult websites. A news release from her attorney said. As WKMG in Orlando reports, Victoria Treese, who has been on Addition school volunteer at Sand Lake Elementary School for the last 5 years, claims she was told she could not be a volunteer because of her participation on an adult-only internet sites, including OnlyFans and the adult access section of Twitter.
Ooh, I don't even know about this. There's an adult access section?
I thought all Twitter was just Wild Wild West. You can put like porn on it and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure because I remember I used to get like, those fake accounts like, hey, single men, do you want sex? I want sex. Click my link. But all that weird shit that I just ended up blocking a bunch of it. But you ever get that?
No, because I haven't really used Twitter that much.
Neither do I.
And briefly for the show, because we had our segment Making Friends on Twitter, I was using it in particular for that. And then it kept giving me these suggestions like, oh, you like this joke by the comedian. Do you want to hear about this mom whose kid just died and now she's grieving? I'm like, no, the fuck off Twitter. Like, what the hell, man? Like, I'm sure I could have turned off the notifications at some point, but they would keep popping up, and I'd try to turn them off. And I just get to the point, you're like, you know what? Twitter, your value added is not worth it for me. I'm just deleting the app altogether.
I get.
But if they had been like, hey, do you want to see some skanky Florida mom, 15-second porn clip? I'd be like, Twitter, where were you all my life? How did I know about this? But no, they didn't. So apparently Twitter's algorithms didn't really have me pegged correctly.
No. Treese, 30, is a mother of 5 and 10-year-old students who attend Sand Lake Elementary and has no criminal history, according to Najame Law, the firm representing her. Miss Treese has never appeared on school property in other than normal, everyday, and school-appropriate clothing, as contrasted to her private online videos and pictures, Najame Law said in the release. Legal part. Oh, go ahead.
For real, in Florida, like, how bad would it have to be for them to be like, oh, that's not school-appropriate clothing?
Well, I mean, in Florida, it'd probably be like see-through, where you can see the nipples through the shirt. Like, that would be probably.
That'd be okay, but if there were also nipple rings, they'd be like, whoa,
oh, yeah.
That's too far.
Mm-hmm.
Rein it back.
Leopard print bra, nipples, straps. I don't know. Legal partners John Zielinski and Mark Najame are representing Treese, who is threatening to sue Orange County Public School Board for $1 million in damages, as well as her reinstatement as an additions volunteer. The basis for damages include denying her the right to participate in her children's lives as she chooses, the choice of denying her chosen livelihood versus seeing her children, or being able to volunteer, and the ridicule she has suffered and will suffer as a result of being banned for no reason other than offending the moral sensitivities of another for what she does privately, legal officials said. So she's a volunteer, a single mom volunteer, for a elementary school. Both her kids. She's a volunteer for that school, and they kicked her out.
I mean, it sounds like it. They're like, hey, you're doing porn. That's not up to the high moral standards of Florida. Cut it out. And when I heard that at first, I was like, okay, hold on. Let's take a minute to assess what exactly is she doing, right? Is she just posting like some nude stuff on OnlyFans, or is she doing like 30gentlemenbukkake69.com? You know, like maybe there's levels to that. I don't know, but maybe not. Maybe if it's legal and
that's interesting, because if she was a paid employee by the school, by the whatever organization,
mm-hmm.
then they probably have the right to just can her based on that. But because she's a volunteer, so they're just kind of like, sorry, ma'am, you just can't come around. And she gets mad, so she sues them. Like, it doesn't make sense.
So there's two more things at play here. One, like, I don't think she was putting it out there that she was on OnlyFans, right? Like, if this was, if they did, like, take your daughter to work day or whatever, or, like, like they had the parent-teacher show and tells, where, like, the parent would come in and be like, I'm a firefighter. We go in the fire station. We put out fires, and they give a little talk.
She goes and she's like, I'm a whore. I'm on OnlyFans.
It's like, yes, we have a PowerPoint presentation about what I do, and then she's just, like, showing clips.
Nice.
And the kid comes back, Mom, today was great. I loved it. Mrs. What's her name?
Treese.
Miss Treese is the best. Mom, why can't you be more like Miss Treese? And then I could see where this would all come from. But I don't think that's what happened. So obviously someone narked on her.
Yeah.
There's some, let's be honest, some dad who was like, oh no, I found this. And then the wife was like, "Wait, why did you find this porn on OnlyFans?" He's like, no. It was to protect our kid. It's to protect our kid. I swear to God, no other reason.
Yeah.
We have to, and that's how it all escalated. Guaranteed.
When I became a mother, they became my whole life. So I wanted to
fuck your mother.
They became. Oh,
I'm sorry.
So I wanted to obviously be involved in every part of the world, whether that's at school, at home, or in just everything. Tree said. So I knew when I had kids, I'm going to be the room parent. Blah, 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 blah. Per the Office of Legal Services, we do not comment on potential pending or ongoing litigation, the statement said. While speaking to reporters Thursday, Tree said her adult career should not affect her participation in her child's education. It's nobody's position to judge what anybody does in their private life, Tree said. If I'm not hurting anybody and I'm not affecting anybody's day, then it's somebody's choice to do something that's fully legal. Tree says she feels isolated from other parents. It does not define my whole life. That's a part of my life, but it's not my life of being a mom or being a parent. She also reflected back to her childhood when her mother would help her at school. My mother did it for me, and having her there was my best joy growing up. just getting to have a parent to see you at school and encourage you to want to be at school. What was that one? There was that one younger chick who was like on. This was like a decade ago or probably longer. She was like on the one. She was one of the original girls that was like on the teen pregnant show on MTV, whatever.
Bad Baby.
No. She was like a
The Cash Me Outside girl.
No. That's a whole nother topic. This was a girl that was like 16 and pregnant, or I think that's the name of the show. It was like where they were
Honey
like,
Boo Boo.
God damn you. And it was like a young broad who like, was just like, she said, I'm a great mother, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter that I'm a teen. And then fast forward, because she was getting so much limelight, she was like, hey, how can I stay in the limelight? What can I do to stay in the, public's perspective? And she ended up doing porn with this one dude. And then
Octomom.
Maybe. Did Octomom do porn?
I think so.
She probably did. Anyway, but it's like they're doing it for publicity. They're not doing it for the sake of their child or whatever. They're like, they want to be famous. Anyway, this chick's pretty hot. I mean, she's, single mom of 2 kids, pretty attractive, but I don't know if you're going to do that shit, then I think you got to face the consequences and just like, nut up. Sorry, you can't work for this. If this was if she was employed,
just transfer the kids to a different school.
Transfer the kids to a different school and
see with the porn friendly policy.
Yeah, with the porn friendly policy, exactly. That was it for the story. I don't know. I don't. We live in a society where this kind of shit, like if you do it, like either be out and open about it and suck it up and face the consequences, or
definitely suck it up. That's extra clicks, extra dollars.
Yeah. Anyway.
You need to get little Timmy his college fund.
Sure. That was it for Florida Man, Florida Mom. We're gonna go to Reddit. Ask Reddit question number 1. Aaron. Jaffe.
Sure.
Do you have a middle name?
Maybe.
I probably know it and I just forgot it. Anyway, Aaron, what is something that is so 1990s and early 2000s?
I don't know. Armando Julio Ramirez.
I don't have a middle name.
It's canon now. It's Julio.
Julio?
Yeah.
If I had to choose a middle name, I don't think it would be Julio. Actually, you know what?
I know, but you don't get to choose your middle name. It's given to you, just like the Julio was given to you.
No, sir. in the Mexican culture, usually the middle name is like a last name or a name of like someone, like one of your
your ancestors, right? Exactly.
So like mine would have to be like my grandfather's first name was Jose Maria, so my name would be Armando Jose Maria Ramirez. Can it sound any more Mexican than that? Jose Maria, Armando Jose Maria Ramirez.
It's epic. It sounds like the protagonist in a really bad romance novel.
Yeah. In like a
oh my God, Armando Jose Ramirez is going to come and sweep me off my feet. Oh no. Sorry, what was the question?
What is something that is so 1990s and early 2000s?
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot. Name a couple of them, or name one, and then we'll fire back and forth like things that.
So, koosh balls. Remember those things?
Koosh balls?
You remember koosh balls?
No. What the fuck is that?
There was a lot of like just dumb shit. Particularly, I remember from when I was in middle school that would become like they were just fads, right? They'd be super popular for like 2 months. That was one. You don't remember koosh balls? Do you remember snap bracelets?
Yeah, those are cool though. Those ones that were just like
they were dumb as fuck.
Well,
but
no, they would because some of the smart ones they would imprint like a ruler on it.
Sure.
And then so it was it was a bracelet, but it was also a ruler.
You're trying to justify it.
Yeah. I had one
It's
of
like,
those.
or you could just have like an actual functional ruler, but
yeah, but you couldn't carry it around in your wrist, dude.
Those were huge. Snap bracelets and koosh balls were like, I'm trying to describe them. Like, so they were kind of like rubbery, where they were soft and kind of like gushy, and they had these like little like rubber like tendrils.
Oh, they were like kind of semi bouncy, and they just had like they looked like the thing's head.
Wait,
like they was just like,
oh, you can still buy them on Amazon. How much are they?
Speaking of so
$9.
I get you. Speaking of koosh balls, they reminded me of treasure trolls. Treasure trolls were like a 90s thing, right? Remember those little fucking little
troll dolls? Yeah,
troll dolls, and then they'd have like the fucking weird hair. And then fast forward to like the late 2000s, they made movies out of fucking treasure the trolls.
Troll dolls, yeah.
Troll movies.
Well, I'm assuming that some of them are worth tons of money now.
Beanie Babies.
Yeah, that was the other one. Except the Beanie Baby windfall never came completely. I know some of them are pretty valuable, but people were convinced. They were like, should I buy stock or should I buy a bunch of Beanie Babies? Beanie Babies. That's a smart investment. That's what I'm doing.
I got one.
You got a Beanie Baby?
No. Blockbuster video stores. Those were the shit, dude. I loved that. It was fun to go to the store and spend like stupid amounts of time just trying to decide what movie to watch. But it was like an experience. It was like part of the experience was going to the store, picking out some snacks, getting like a couple movies, maybe buying some of the. Remember, they used to do those like 2 for $10 or 4 for $20, like used. That dude, it was fun. I used to have fun doing that.
So I remember there were a couple of things. There's 3 competing video stores where I lived. There was the Blockbuster that is everyone's familiar with. There was TLA Video. I don't know what that stands for. And it was like obviously a much smaller, probably regional chain. TLA had a way better selection, and they had the crazy innovation. Instead of having like 15 different boxes of the same movie, they would just have one box, and they'd have little tickets. There'd be a little hook, so there'd be like 15 like tickets, and each one correlated to what they had in stock. Right. So it was like way easier to find stuff at TLA, and they had like a lot more on the shelf. But the one that I really remember, there was West Coast Video. You've been to Narberth. Remember Narberth, Pennsylvania?
Sure.
Remember where Mapes was? Remember Mapes?
The little store I bought.
5 and Dime store?
Yeah. Okay.
That was Narberth. So there was West Coast Video, and even when I was young, I'm like, why the fuck is it called West Coast Video? Because
here
like
on the East Coast.
Yeah, like I don't think they have these in the West Coast. This is a sham. This is bad marketing, West Coast Video. But the thing I remember about that most, there's this woman who worked there at the front desk, and I got to imagine like dermatology could fix whatever was wrong with her, but she just like had all these like moles and warts, and it was kind of horrific. But when you're a little kid, you just kind of get used to it. But I just always remember her because I was like kind of fascinated and kind of terrified at the same time. It was grotesque. It was like like the little kid in the beginning of a horror movie gets like scared by the neighbor who's something's. Maybe I'm talking about Home Alone, but it was like that. But they actually end up being really nice and helpful.
Oh.
It was like that, but she still could have been a serial killer. I never tried. I never actually befriended her. I just thought about it.
Some of the answers on Reddit to what is something that is so 1990s and early 2000s. AOL Instant Messenger.
Hell yeah.
I used to love that shit, dude. I'd hook up with girls. Dude, that reminds me of the one prank we did on did you hear about this? I don't think we ever talked about it on air. Prank we played on Zach Steckline. Yes? No, I'm sorry. We played it on Bolliker. It was okay, so Bolliker, or I'm sorry, Remkowitz and Zach lived down the hall in Harris, and then Aaron, Ellis, James and myself lived like a couple doors over in the same hall. And a lot of times we would just either all hang out in someone's room or go to their room and drink, or come to our room and drink, whatever. Bolliker was always hanging out with Lancer. This was before he was a Lancer, and he was using Zach's computer that was running AOL Instant Messenger. And so what I did down the hall is I created a fictitious AOL AIM account name, and I was like sending messages to Zach, and then but Christian was reading them, and I played the persona of a girl that was like a volleyball player that Zach knew and that was like hot and like looking to get a boyfriend, and like I was like, have you ever had sex on a washing machine while it was running? And Bolliker would get all excited and would like run down the hall. Dude, who's this girl, Zach? Like I'm just talking to this chick and she's hot. And anyway, fast forward a couple years later, Bolliker asked Steckline, "Hey, whatever happened to that volleyball girlfriend of yours?" And then Zach and I both looked at each other, just started laughing. It was like, dude, it was me. It was Mondo the whole time. It was like catfish using AOL Instant Messenger is what it was.
So you catfished one of your friends by
Yes, sir.
posing as a hot girl.
Yeah.
Nothing problematic about that at all.
I thought it was funny.
That is funny, but yeah, a little perverse at the same time.
User Double Stitch writes the Encarta Encyclopedia.
Oh my god, yes.
What's that?
You remember that?
Oh.
God, that was crazy. So like right when they figured out how to make CDs for computers, that was the shit because.
Oh yeah, it's starting to ring a bell.
It was. I mean, it was just an encyclopedia, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, encyclopedias are just back in the day, kids, before the internet was really a thing. You had these big books that were sort of like a shitty short reference section for like all sorts of random things. But the big thing on Encarta was you could get videos. And I remember there was one video about hermit crabs where you click hermit crabs and you could see it coming on the shell. We're like, oh my god, fucking, you know, like we're like in whatever 6th grade, get so excited just looking at the little clips on Encarta.
Again, like Aaron says, this is before the internet, boys and girls. We are that old, but it used to be.
Could I add one thing that may not be in the comment section?
Sure.
If you guys just want a huge nostalgia bomb, I recommend listening to the 90s by Lil Dicky. He is a rapper.
Is it a song?
It is a song, and it's just straight out here. I'll play like 10 seconds of it. I can find it.
Will we get in trouble on YouTube's?
No. As long as I only play like 10 seconds.
Okay. Well, you do what you think you could do. Don't get us in trouble.
I don't know what part I came in on the song, but the whole thing is just nostalgia.
Yeah, I don't know anything he's saying.
You don't.
I can't understand his rap.
It might be hard through the speakers. So like, what was the last line he said? He said like, we were fucking with the swag of the Fresh Prince. Something or other. We'll never forget this. Arcade balling. Landline calling. Arcade balling. Something about tickets falling. Pegging stupid fuckers in that motherfucking ball pit. That one hit. You remember the ball pits?
Oh, like in Chuck E. Cheese's?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It took me a while.
You just gotta listen to it. I don't. That the audio probably wasn't. That's actually weird. Like I don't know what it was. If he was like sick or something and recorded it, his voice is kind of scratchy in that song, but it's still worth it just for the nostalgia because he hits on everything. Fresh Prince, the arcade tickets. That's still a thing. It has to be, right?
Yeah, they still do that. Chuck E. Cheese still exists, and there's
or not even. When I was a kid, it was Radnor Rolls. It was a skating rink, like roller skating. But then they had, because I remember the layout. I mean, this place was just as dark and dingy as you could get. And you'd come in, and there like the whole roller skating rink would be in front of you, and to the right were just these like shitty I probably hadn't been cleaned in months, like little tables and stuff, and there was a little window where you'd get food, and that's where, you know, so many kids had birthday parties at Radnor Rolls. That was just like the cheap, easy birthday party. And then like past, like in the back corner, there were just all these, you know, skee ball and arcade games and everything, and you get the tickets, and then you could get, you know, it was like literally the monetary equivalent of like $200 of tickets, and you're like, you might get a koosh ball.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, this koosh ball, I won it. It was mine.
User Ninja109 says caller ID box and cordless phones.
Oh,
I'm gonna add to that. Pagers. Did you ever own a pager?
No.
I had a pager. I thought I was fancy because my pager had like over 100 different pre-programmed messages. So that's like,
cool. I know I never dealt drugs, so I skipped that.
I was like, had a headphone jack so you could listen to FM radio. I thought it was like the coolest fucking pager ever.
So just like that friendly neighbor down the block was like, Armando, I need you to come take this package across town. Don't look what's in it. It's fine. It's just a nice delivery to my elderly grandmother. And you're like, okay, and you took it. That's why you had the pager, right?
Yeah.
Now it's canon. Your name is, was it Armando Maria?
Pagers was that kind of intermediary between having landlines and cell phones. Like there was like a period where it was like there was a need to have like access to being reached out to when there was not.
Armando, what was your middle name gonna be?
Jose Maria.
Hello, I'm Armando Jose Maria, the prepubescent drug mule.
Whoa. Yeah. User KO19 writes.
I don't know why I did that accent, because you wouldn't have had that accent
No.
either. I don't like. You didn't have a really like bad Mexican accent when you were. No,
I don't think so.
I retract that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm gonna get canceled.
KO19 writes nights and weekend minutes. It was free after 9 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
It cost like 10 cents to text, and the only time minutes were free was if you were within the same carrier. None of my friends had Sprint, so I couldn't even count on using the same network for free minutes during the day.
We've already mentioned Gemstone 3 and the $400 phone bill I racked up.
Ooh.
Oh, that was on AOL.
Nextel. Beep, 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 beep. Those.
You know what? Here's another nostalgia thing. Just the AOL CD.
Uh-huh.
Everyone just had like 5 of them laying around.
Yeah, they had like a certain number of hours of internet access for each CD, and then when you would use one up, you'd download the other one so you can get more time. All right, so that was it for that was it for question number 1.
Are you all right, buddy?
No, this was I was reading like.
Do we need to get a neurologist in here for you?
I was trying to like speak, and then I was trying to read a different sentence at the same time. Does that make sense? It didn't. My brain was not.
I understand.
Okay. Speaking of,
that's what happened when I did that bad accent. It was. I was trying to. I just got my wires crossed.
Speaking of not being very intelligent.
Fuck.
Reddit question.
I just played myself.
Reddit question number 2: Who isn't as smart as people think?
I actually answered this one on the Reddit thing.
Oh, did you?
Doctors.
Yeah, they're not. A lot of times they're just kind of guesstimation.
But so I'm also separating that from whether they're good at being doctors, whether you like their diagnosis or their treatment plans or any of that. A lot of doctors are just legitimately dumb human beings.
Yeah.
Like, if you were doing like a bar trivia night, not even a bar trivia night, if you're doing some sort of like basic problem solving game, like at a party, you would not want them on their team.
Yeah, some of them are missing common sense.
Common sense, internal logic.
Yeah.
And this was the example that I gave of just a doctor being truly dumb. She decided that I had a rare genetic disorder only commonly seen in the elderly Chinese population. And this was granted, there were masks, but this was in a face-to-face, like in-person eval. She asked me, "Oh, are you Asian?" And I was like, "What?" And like I look, because there was
You should have said yes, sir. Miso sali. Yes.
No, I should have done the bad Hispanic accent to just really throw her, but also said yes.
And say your name is Jose Maria. I'm Filipino. That's why my last name is
Yes,
Ramirez.
my name is Armando Jose Maria Ramirez, and I'm Vietnamese.
No, Filipino. Vietnamese don't have last names Ramirez. Filipinos do.
I should have said my name was Armando Maria. Wait, what was it?
Jose Maria.
Jose Maria Chang.
Pretty cool.
Like, but yeah, no. So, and I looked at her. I don't know if it was her nurse practitioner or whatever. But she had like an assistant in the room. I look at her like, oh, this is a joke, right? Like she's just making it. Oh fuck, no, she's serious. Oh my god, I completely regret going here. And I was really pissed off because this was in a hospital, which is a state hospital, right?
Uh-huh.
But you could not get access from the state's marketplace plans. So like Colorado has marketplace plans that you can buy into for health insurance.
Yeah.
And so it was a state hospital that none of the marketplace plans provided access to, which is fucking bullshit to begin with. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I had paid money to see her.
Yeah.
And then we're 20 minutes into this thing, and she's like, "Oh, are you Asian?" I'm like, "Oh my fucking, this is costing me $300."
Yeah, and then you're like, it just makes you lose complete faith over like the legitimacy of them knowing what the fuck they're doing as a doctor. Like, you're gonna try to fix my health problems?
So in my experience, there are some very smart doctors, but I'd say like 1 in 8 are just complete fucking idiots, which is crazy. Mondo, there's an old joke about that. What do you call the person who finished last in medical school? Like the lowest GPA, lowest test scores. What do you call them?
Teachers?
Doctor.
Oh. Yeah, they're still doctors. I mean, they still pass. They still get their doctorate. I got one who isn't as smart as people think. I'm gonna throw two motherfuckers under the bus. Oprah Winfrey. I guess the current Oprah Winfrey is Ellen DeGeneres, right?
What? I think.
Okay. Well, Oprah Winfrey and Joe Rogan. Like a lot of people.
Oh my
a lot
God,
of people
yes.
they're like people think that their word is good as gold. Like it's like they know what they talk. They interview so many people. They know so many interesting people, and they have all the facts right. Like no.
No. The other part with Joe Rogan in particular, which is sort of weird to me, is he for many years he would say, "I'm a fucking moron."
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I'm a dummy. Like, don't listen to me." And then, despite I think people were like, "Ah, Joe, he's just kidding. He's so humble." Or I don't know how they interpreted that, but like, no, he's legitimately very dumb. Great interviewer. He's very good at kind of keeping the flow of a conversation going. But that's like a skill versus kind of intelligence.
Yeah.
Could be very smart people who are terrible at that skill set. But like, yes, in terms of actually understanding and comprehending things, he's just not. He's not very smart. But somewhere, I feel like in the last year to 2 years, he sort of forgot that he's a dummy.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, yeah, my opinions on science and technology and things, those are all just as valid as the experts I'm bringing on. I'm like, Joe, no.
Yeah.
No, stay in your lane, Joe.
Yeah.
Just talk about like
he brings on all these
archery.
He brings on all these experts, but see, all those experts have a focus. They have a narrative, and so if he has them on as guests, and as long as he's not contradicting what they're saying, he's kind of like, oh wow, you're a fucking genius. All of a sudden, Joe absorbs all this information, and he thinks he's like an oracle. Anyway, Oprah Winfrey was like that too back in the day, in her heyday, where people were like, oh my God, Oprah's such a fucking philanthropist. She's so fucking intelligent, blah, 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 blah. No, you're not. You're just...
It seems like she might... Both of them might be kind of smart business sense-wise.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Business-wise, for sure. Both. I mean, look at Joe with his multi-million-dollar, what is it, Spotify thing, and like... I mean, hey, who would have ever thought you turned this platform that you and I are on, like a free version of just talking to each other and talking to people and then making a ton of money off of it. He was a pioneer. I'll give him that, and he was, smart about his moves. Anyway.
So the Rogan thing in particular is cracks me up a little bit because, like Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, was in the news a lot recently because he tested positive for COVID. So he's out until I think it's like November 16th or something. But it came out in the midst of that he had lied about being vaccinated. And then in a wild interview with Pat McAfee where it was like every COVID conspiracy theory he was throwing, he's like, well, I didn't want to take the vaccine because I'm allergic to it, but also because it might make me sterile. And like, it was all this stuff. He revealed that he had, instead of taking the vaccine, he had followed advice from Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like they were personally talking, and that was the one that cracked me up because, like Bill Burr had been on Rogan like during the lockdowns and everything like that, and I don't always agree with Bill Burr's opinions, but at least his logic is very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And they had an exchange where Rogan was like saying like, "Oh, masks are for pussies," and Bill Burr just fucking tore him a new one like. Wait, I'm trying to find the actual test. Bill Burr, like this is from a quote. Bill Burr goes, "I'm not going to be sitting here with no medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree. All I do is watch the news every 2 weeks. Mask or no mask? Still mask? Okay." And then there was one part where it was like, I can't remember how it came up, but Rogan said something about not being able to like even go out and like rollerblade, and Bill Burr's like, "Joe, you can't rollerblade because your knuckles are going to scrape on the ground." It's just fucking like, so it is it's a little bit mind blowing to me that people are listening to Joe Rogan about medical advice, but whatever.
User Glutton Asteroth writes, any television doctor, but a special shout out to Dr. Oz, who peddles homeopathic bullshit weight loss medicine that is legit dangerous for people. Yeah, a lot of those Dr. Phil, Dr. this, Dr. blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the original one when I was a kid, at least, was the guy on MTV.
Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew, that guy.
I mean,
Like
he actually is like a real doctor at least, but
yeah, but then when he goes on these reality TV shows like the rehab ones, it's like kind of cringy. I don't know.
he definitely got caught up in the clout chasing.
For sure. User Noelic_V writes, the neighbor's child my mother keeps comparing me to. You know, like, oh, my son is a elementary school student, whatever. Fuck off. I was that kid, unfortunately. So my mom would be bragging to me about everyone.
That's actually like an old. It's like a joke about Jewish parents. And the extent of it was like, you know, I'm trying to think of a Jewish name, like Adam whatever is elected the first Jewish president of the United States, and he calls his mom and he wants her to come to the inauguration. She's like, "Oh, I can't make it. It's too far of a drive." He's like, "No, I'm gonna have Air Force One pick you up and fly you down." "Oh, I can't get to JFK Airport at that time of the day." No, I'll have the Secret Service come and get you in a limousine and take you there. And she goes, "Okay, fine, And she goes to the inauguration, and Adam, whatever his name is, up. He's being sworn in. His hand. Actually, I don't know would a Jewish president have her hand on the Bible? Yeah, they Jewish people still use the Bible. Whatever. That's not part of the joke. And Adam is being sworn in as the president, and she leans over to the former president who's sitting next to her, and she goes, "Did you know his brother's a doctor?"
Yep. I heard that joke. Last one I'll read. User Heatless40 writes, Redditors. I thought that was kind of funny.
Accurate. Although, you know what though? It's a sliding scale compared to other social media users. Redditors are fucking geniuses. Like, Redditors way smarter than Twitter, and then compared to the people in Facebook comments, I can't even. I don't. You know what? If you don't want to fall into this category of people who are way dumber than you'd think, do not read Facebook comments. Those are the dumbest human beings, and I find myself getting dumber anytime I read them.
Yeah. Well, it's not even just dumber. It's like it's not as bad as it when Facebook. Well, it's still kind of bad, but people use social media to like vent their dirty laundry, like private stuff. It's like. I think I think I've done that a number of times in my past as a younger, less than mature version of Armando 2.0 that I am now. That was it for Ask Reddit.
A younger version of Armando Jose Ramirez.
Jose Maria. Get it right, motherfucker. Yeah.
Armando Jose Ramirez.
We're gonna try a new, not really completely wholly hashed out segment where we review a movie. So we don't know what we're gonna call it yet, but we're gonna call it.
I mean, it's essentially new on Netflix, and we're just talking about a movie, but, whatever. So for Degenerate Movie Reviews 1.0, we're going to talk about Dune.
Yeah, the current Dune.
Not Doom with an M, no first-person shooting. I don't think, anyway. I didn't see the whole movie. But Dune, as in a sand dune.
I saw it all. Did you? You said you only saw an hour of it.
I saw the first hour. So first, what genre would you put this in?
I would say like sci-fi.
I think that's a trick. I think this is what most people would say. I think it's fantasy.
Okay, sure.
Because we were talking about college. Shout out to I don't even remember that professor's name, but kind of in the same way, Star Wars is fantasy. It's not actually science fiction. Like, just because there's spaceships and technology, they don't really affect the story as much. It's more like real science fiction. It's about like how the technology is changing society and everything like that. I haven't seen the whole movie, but yeah, so far to me it really felt like fantasy, because on top of yes, there's spaceships and planets, but there's like this very sort of mystical element as well.
Yep, there is, for sure. For those of you who have not seen Dune, and maybe you've ventured and were brave enough to try to watch the original Dune, the 1980 whatever version of it, that first movie got like mixed. People don't like sitting through it all because it's kind of a long and it kind of does. There's a lot of plot points and stuff that like you can miss if you're not really paying close attention to like what the families are and the history But what I didn't like. Let me start this. What I didn't like about this remake or reimagining of Dune is that they don't tell you. Oh, by the way, this is just part one of. Could be many. There might be a Dune part 2, part 3, part. Who knows how many Dunes they're gonna make off of this shit. But so yeah, don't expect to get like a finality, like a conclusion when you finish watching the movie. It just kind of like leaves you hanging to like, oh, there's gonna be more to this story. But that was like one of the only major drawbacks to this version of it.
Well, so one of the big criticisms of the original was there was just no way to pack that whole story
Yeah.
into one movie.
Yeah.
So do you think that was like a positive or a negative? I mean, are you just upset because you weren't aware that it was only part one?
Yes.
But do you think for telling this story that it's actually going to be an overall positive, that there'll be multiple installments?
Yeah. Well, for one, yeah, I would have liked to have been forewarned. One. Number two, I'm actually excited at the idea that there's going to be more movies.
Okay.
But
so you
again,
like that? You just wanted it to be called Dune Part 1. There will be more for Armando.
Or Dune the beginning, or Dune something, like just to let you know, like, oh, by the way, there's going to be more of this stuff coming, and they better follow through and make these other ones. How shitty would it be, as good as the reviews are for this one? How shitty would it be if they only made the part one? They don't make a part two. They don't make a sequel to
I don't know because I haven't finished. I understand it was rhetorical.
Yeah, but I mean, it would suck. It's like you're like, oh crap. They make this, fantastic movie, and you get drawn into some of the characters and the, back history and all that good stuff. And then like, oh, you don't know what's going to happen. It kind of, it's like when they made the Firefly, TV show, like it was great. And then that's it. And then they make the movie like, 10 years later, but you're like kind of disappointed because they didn't really continue on with.
Yeah, and so I think this movie did pretty well.
Yeah.
So this is Hollywood. And any property that makes money, I don't think you have to worry about them not wanting to make a sequel. They're not gonna be like, oh my god, this did really well.
Yeah.
And you know what? We just don't want to do any.
Yeah.
We don't like making more money. Fuck it. Like we want to have something fresh and original. Like, why rehash the same franchise over and over and over again? Who the fuck would do that in Hollywood? That's not us. That's somebody else. So I think your fears, not unfounded. I understand why you'd want them, but I think you can rest easy, is what I'm trying to say.
The main character is played by Timothy.
That's how I pronounce it in my head. I don't know if that's how you really say it, but it's got a weird spelling for Timothy.
Timothy.
It's
Chalamet or Chalamea or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But it's spelled like Timothee.
Timothy.
Timothy.
Is he a French kid? Is he a French actor? I've seen him in one other movie.
Isn't it like Chalamet or something?
I don't know. I've seen him in one other movie, and it was called The King, or
he's been in a lot of stuff.
I've only seen one other flick of his.
Well, before could we back up?
Sure.
For one thing, actually maybe two, because I remember seeing the the original Dune movie as a teenager, and there was a couple of gripes I had with it. The first was I remember getting the end to it and being like, "What the fuck did I just watch? Like, what happened?" It was very hard to follow. And I think particularly back then I had like a very good attention span, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on by the end of it. And I don't think that was a problem for this one. Like, even with the hour I watched, I was like, okay, I know who the people are. Like, they sort of laid this out. There was a lot of exposition, but they got through it pretty quickly. And then the second part, I remember thinking when I saw the original, I was like, holy shit, how many drugs did they do when they made this? This was so fucking weird. Do you think it seemed like there was still that weirdness in this one? I think that's just part of the series, maybe part of its charm. To me, it seemed like they kind of toned that down a little bit. Is that accurate, or?
I don't know. When you're in a fantasy world, and if you really get drawn into what it's trying, like the story it's trying to tell you, you really immerse yourself in it. Like, I don't on that whole like, what the fuck are these guys smoking? Like, it isn't like, I'm like, oh cool, crazy shit's happening, awesome. You just accept the crazy stuff going on, the lunacy of it,
The in the original it just seemed so weird, and part of it was because like they had ridiculous costumes, but they didn't quite pull them off. Like it didn't seem organic to the world. It was just like them trying to do a costume where it would almost pull me out of it.
Yeah.
Where I didn't have any issues with that in this one. Even when they were talking about how they're drinking their sweat with these like special desert suits. I'm like, that actually sounds cool.
You think about this though. But when this movie came out in the early '80s, if you're watching that movie, then like you're thinking like, oh shit, this is like super futuristic. You suspend disbelief, you suspend belief, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna accept all this crazy.
Suspend disbelief. You were so close. You almost got it.
I said both of them just in case. I covered my base. I covered my ass. Anyway, the special effects of back then were like revolutionary. Like those scenes where they have the blue eyes and all that shit, and then they fire the guns at the anyway. So you're watching this movie, and you tend to. I mean, we're in an age now where CGI is commonplace. So you watch this movie and like whatever special effects and CGI stuff that happens, you kind of like, okay, I accept it's part of it. But yeah, the kind of general sort of kind of not really premise of it is that there's an existing family that, let's just call them, I don't remember what they were called in the movie, but they were a brutish family. They were violent. They were not nice people. The Hawkins?
Yeah, something. It was something with
Hawkins
age.
or
I
Harkins?
just watched it and I can't remember any of the family names.
They're called like the Harkins or the Hawkins. Anyways, this family made a killing off of mining this
spice.
This stuff called spice that basically it's kind of like a drug, like a medicine, but they also use this spice to like, navigate through planet interstellar navigation.
Yeah, the space is the main fuel that allows for intergalactic travel. So it's like the most valuable substance in the whole galaxy.
The spice.
And it was House Harkonnen. And then the other sort of main house
Atreides.
Atreides.
So the Harkonnens basically, the Emperor's like, fuck you, you're not going to mine this planet anymore. They kind of strip them of the power of being the house that oversees the mining operation, and they then inject this House Atreides family to take over the mining operations. And so obviously there's beef between the Harkonnens and the Atreides. So that's kind of like the
little Game of Thrones vibes.
Yeah, that's kind of like the basic gist of what is going on. And once you kind of get that part of it going on, you're kind of like, okay, I can immerse myself in this story, this Game of Thrones stuff.
Well, and just to be clear, it's like the Atreides family seem like the relatively normal ones in this universe. Relatively, there's still some weird shit going on. Yeah. But the Harkonnen are just they're like if Jabba the Hutt and like the Hellraiser monster like had a baby. That's what the House Harkonnen's like. They're just very dark and fucked up.
They are amused by like violence and torture, and it's like, I don't know, they're
the BDSM family.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, I don't know the actor's name in this movie that plays like the main Harkonnen guy, but that actor, I seen him in a bunch of other movies. Something Skarsgård or some fucking
could be
some Swedish or Norwegian or some fucking. But the dude, the way they costume him in this one versus the original Dune, I like what they did with him in this movie much better. He seems more creepy, like more gross, and like Aaron said, like Jabba the Hutt, like you're kind of like, yeah. And
that's my audio interpretation of what he looked like.
In the original Dune, the Duke Harkonnen guy had like all these warts and zits and shit, and then he had like this doctor that would like pick at him and be like, "Oh, your warts enlighten me," or like he was kind of like, I don't know, he kind of like.
Oh my God! It was the woman from West Coast Video's son.
Probably.
Holy shit!
That's how they tie it, huh? But what they did in this one is a little bit different than that. But he still manages to be a very gross, like just disgusting, stinky guy. I don't know.
I mean, he can levitate, apparently.
Yeah. Well, they did that in the first one too. In the first one, he flew around and shit. And But sadly, there's no knock on wood yet. There's no Sting. There's no Sting. There's no major. But they had a bunch
There
of
was Sting in Only Murders in the Building, which we reviewed last time.
Yeah.
So only one Sting every month.
Yeah.
You can only have so much Sting.
I think I'm happy. I'm happy to kind of revisit the story of Dune. I was sad that we only get to like a certain part, because even the original movie, if you watch the original Dune, you start watching it, a bunch of shit happens, and the main Atreides guys goes through his like adventure stuff, and then like it just kind of stops abruptly. It isn't like it just kind of like we're gonna stop here, and there was no Dune Part 2. I think they did like Children of Dune or some other kind of offshoot miniseries thing, wannabe, but it never really did very well.
The Dune Babies.
Sure, but
it was animated.
Yeah, this movie does the same thing, only a little more sooner than the original Dune as far as the storyline goes. What'd you think of the kind of the
pacing?
Yeah.
That was so far that was my main gripe. Was it's a 2.5 hour movie. I made it an hour into it, and like very, very little has happened. They go heavy. I mean, they have to do a lot of exposition, which I think is helpful, just so you understand the dynamic and what's happening, and you don't end up like the first movie, like what the who are these people? What?
Yeah.
But not very much happens at all. Like, so we set up the basic premise of it's these, it's sort of this intergalactic empire. There are these families. It's sort of instead of Westeros, it's a galaxy, and instead of Lannister, it's the Harkonnen, and I mean they're not. It's not a 1-to-1, but you see what I'm saying. And it's like, okay, so the Atreides house is taking over for the Harkonnen house in mining the spice. That is the entire first hour of the movie.
Yeah.
Like nothing else. I mean, there are some scenes where you're kind of setting things up a little bit. You're setting up some of the mysticism. There seems to be this like coven of like space witches that can see the future and things like that. That's sort of like introduced, but nothing really happens with that yet.
They have this ability that's basically like the Jedi, where they would say something and then they would hypnotize the person.
It's like the Jedi mind trick, but way fucking creepier.
Yeah.
Because it's Dune.
Yeah.
It's like it's like if take anything from Star Wars and then just put it in like black latex and some Vaseline.
Whoa.
And then you've got Dune. That's basically the vibe that they're going for.
Yeah.
But like, so I've gone through 60 minutes of screen time, and like they've just the basic premise has been established, and I'm like, I wonder if anything happens in the next 90 minutes, or if this is just the pacing of the whole movie.
I'm going to roll the dice here and say that's going to be the pacing of the entire series of movies, depending on however many movies they make. There's just that much shit going on that I think the speed of which the plot kind of comes at you is not going to be any faster, sooner, or quicker. It's going to kind of take its time in telling you all this stuff that's going on. A lot of fantastic marquee actors in it outside of Timothy.
What was the South Park character? It was the
Timmy.
Guy, yeah. Could just call him Timmy. Chalamet.
Let's see. Dave Bautista is in it.
He in his one dramatic scene, I thought he was excellent.
Oh no, he's in it. A couple more scenes.
That I saw. There's one part where he was really pissed off that they no longer had control of the spice, and I was like, man, I felt that. I believed you, Dave. I felt your anger. He's a good actor, man.
He is.
That dude, that dude is a real dude, man.
What other awesome actors that people would recognize? Oscar Isaac plays Duke Leto Atreides, who's basically Timothy's dad. Is Oscar Isaac? He does a good job.
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin's fantastic. Oh, that guy's name.
Very good at being cranky.
The Duke Harkonnen is Stellan Skarsgård. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. Jason Heartthrob Momoa. Can I give you a little fun fact about Jason Momoa?
Okay.
You know, Eric Leiser for the longest time used to carry around a picture in his wallet of the guy from Full House.
John Stamos.
John Stamos. He used to carry a picture of John Stamos. It was like his man crush, right?
Okay.
He had since removed John Stamos as his man crush picture in his photo wallet thing to Jason Momoa. That's just a fun fact for you. Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to dwell on that. Moving on.
Josh Brolin, you mentioned him. Javier Bardem, which I'm excited to see.
I do want to say I was a little bit disappointed in Jason Momoa's performance as far as I've seen in the movie. He was the one where I'm like,
he kind of does the same. He kind of does the same character.
Aquaman.
Yeah, kind of.
But like, I could see in like a campy DC movie that's just kind of bad that working, but everyone else's. The performances seem very good. Like they're really kind of hitting the tone. And then there's Jason Momoa, like, "Hi guys,
yeah,
I'm Jason Momoa. Oh, I fought this guy. It was really tough." It's nice because there were some moments of levity. Like one of the parts where I was like, "This is like the one joke they've had in the whole fucking movie." Was I take it like he was combat training Timothy Chalamet. And you don't get to see them doing that, but they obviously have a relationship, and like they hug, and he's like, "Oh, wow, look at that! You're putting on some muscle." And Timothy Chalamet's like, "Really?" He's like, "No,
no."
He's a very, very skinny dude.
Did you get to the part? I'm not gonna. So I don't want to ruin it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to the spitting scene?
Yes.
Okay. That moment was funny. That scene was kind of comedic. I like that part.
I mean, yeah. It is a very sort of heavy atmospheric movie, very somber, like a lot of like sort of minor chord synths in the background and stuff like that. I don't know if there actually are synths, but that's what it felt like. Just a lot of like that kind of feeling. And yeah, he thus far, at least what I saw, were some of the few moments of levity. Which is fine. I think the writing was good. I just I felt his performance didn't quite hold up to everyone else around him. But that's fine, whatever.
The only other big major notable actress in the movie is Zendaya, who plays Chani, who's one of the Fremen.
Who an hour into the movie, she's been in 6 seconds of screen time?
Yeah. Fun fact, trivia for you.
Ooh, another fun fact.
In the original 1984 film Dune,
Zendaya was also in it.
No.
She's 47.
The woman that plays Chani in the original.
Okay.
In the Fremen, whatever. That actress. Fast forward, she's the detective in Pet Detective that has the wiener in the butt. The guy.
Yes.
That actress is the same one from 1984's Dune. She's the Chani.
I liked how you described her. The detective that has the wiener in the butt guy. That was, I mean,
everyone knows.
So it's a terrible description in the sense that, but I knew exactly who you're talking about.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Fuck, now I'm blanking on her name. Because she was supposed to. Oh, what was her name?
Wiener in the butt.
She was someone who people were just kind of terrified. I remember she had a role that
the actress
was super creepy.
The actress in the original Dune?
No, the Ace Ventura Pet Detective. It was like Shannon or Sean Young.
I don't know, maybe
Sean Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's also just supposed to be a little bit crazy.
How do you know that? Where do you get that from?
Because there was this whole thing about her being fucking nuts.
Well, I believe it. Well, if she likes to have wiener in her butt. Yeah.
That wasn't. She didn't have a wiener in her butt.
She tucked her wiener.
She was tucking her penis. She wasn't putting it in her butt.
She put her wiener in her butt.
Not in her butt, butt adjacent.
How do you know it didn't slip in? Whoop.
Because then you wouldn't have been able to see it. Maybe she should have done that if she really wanted to go.
Well, not
straight.
all the way in. I mean, just tucked in the crack.
Just a quick question: are we really discussing? Sean Young is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But so she played. Wait, who did she play in the original?
She plays Chani.
The other part I want to say, Fremen, it really makes me think of how people say like men and women they can't be friends, but that's what it sounds like. It's like if you had a female friend, it's my Fremen.
Oh, kind of like a friend zone girl. She's my Fremen.
Well, friend zone implies that one person is actually romantically attracted. But like this is like the mythical like no, they're actually just platonic friends and neither one has any feelings.
Fremen?
They're Fremen. Yeah, it's my Fremen. They're like, no, Fremen can't really exist. And it's like, no, like, yeah, you could have a Fremen. Like, no, one or the other is going to be attracted. So it's a Fremen is a one-way relationship. And you're like, no.
So yeah, really, I don't know. It's a really good movie. I enjoyed it. Did you like it? At least the 1 hour that you seen. Like, I know you said that there was a lot of exposition, and you're kind of like, all right. I mean, did you enjoy what you saw so far of it?
It's tough to. So I thought the visuals were really excellent.
Mhm.
It made me think of Stanley Kubrick, who, if you're familiar, he had this thing about every frame a painting, where he wanted if you could take literally any frame in his movie, and if you just freezed it on that, like it would make a really cool painting or poster or whatever like that. Like that's how good the cinematography had to be. And like I actually found myself watching Dune like with that like almost like, oh, that would be a cool painting, like every shot. So
Yeah.
so I thought like the atmosphere, the cinematography, all that was excellent. But I think part of the reason I was focusing so much on this every frame of painting thing is because I was fucking bored.
Oh.
Like, I'm like, dude, could we? This is great that we're setting everything up. Like, this looks really cool, but could we kind of like get on with it a little bit? Like, can we have something happen?
You also got to remember, you were watching this last night after watching the full UFC, so you're probably already kind of a little bit tired of like sitting in one place and watching TV, or I don't know. I think if you woke up and then you turned it on fresh, like, oh, okay.
That is literally what I did. I watched the first hour this morning.
Oh, this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you did it like before going to bed last night.
No, if you compare the first hour of Dune to the Michael Chandler Justin Gaethje fight, it would be a tough transition if you went from one to the other, because there's no heart racing moments thus far.
I enjoyed the shit out of Dune. I almost watched it again this morning, but instead I watched another TV series thing for a later date. But I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. It's worth watching it a couple times, I think. And the actors did a good job. I look forward to Dune Part 2, whatever the fuck they're going to call that.
Yeah. Well, based on the first hour, I was bored, but I'm gonna watch the next 90 minutes. Like, it was a well-made movie. Like, it was good good acting, and I do want to see if there's any sort of payoff for all this setup in the first movie. Like things have just started happening. They're about to go out in the desert, and they got a suit that recycles all your sweat and everything, and you can drink it. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'm on board. I want one of those suits.
I've got
Mondo, can you? Does it also recycle your pee?
I think it's supposed to.
The suit, so you can drink your sweat and pee.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to take all.
Can you like tweak the percentages for different flavors? Like, all right, I want 30% sweat, 70%
Well,
pee.
that's why you remember that scene where they make tea or coffee or whatever that was?
I do not remember that.
Okay, so you haven't seen that part yet. I don't want to ruin it. It's pretty. You're like, oh, crazy. You're like, okay. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. I've got nothing else for this episode. Outside of the fact that we saw phenomenal fights last night. Congratulations, Doug Rose. Congratulations,
Doug Rose.
Justin Gaethje.
Doug Rose.
I'm not a Kamaru Usman fan, but he beat the shit out of Colby again.
Rose.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, Colby Covington fans are hilarious. This is the first I've seen so many comments on social media that they're like, Colby Covington was robbed. It should have been a draw.
Oh no, he lost.
I've never seen that before though, because they're saying that he won rounds 3, 4, and 5, and then the second round was a 10-8. But like, I've never heard fans cry that a fight was a robbery and their fighter should have gotten a draw.
Yeah,
that's just next level.
I think he legitimately lost. I think we talked about this. I think he looked better the first fight, even though he got knocked out and his jaw got broken the first fight. I think he performed better. The second fight, I felt like Usman was a bit sloppier and was allowing himself to get tagged a bit more than he should have. I just think Usman's a better boxer than he performed yesterday. But outside of that, the fights were phenomenal. The main card, everything about it, the opener, Justin Gaethje, Chandler, they delivered. Thank Allah. It was a fantastic fight. A lot of people are like rematch just because they want to see the shit happen again. Such a good fight. But yeah.
I want to see Chandler versus Khabib protege.
Islam
Makhachev. Yeah.
Anyway, I've got nothing else to add to this episode. Do you have anything else you want to add? That long pause means no. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. See you guys in a week. We appreciate you guys listening. Bye-bye.